Hi, and welcome again to the Path to Profit podcast. I'm Brad Dobson with my co-host, Dr. Manette Riordan. She also happens to be my wife, if you hadn't figured that out by now. Yeah, kissy. And our lovely guest today, Mary Cravets. Welcome, Mary.
Thank you. Thanks for having me today.
So I was super excited to, in some ways, continue the conversation we started here in my home a few weeks ago, talking about our entrepreneurial journeys. You guys are in for a real treat with Mary. And Mary, we always start our show with a quote, so I have a fun one for today, and that I think kind of ties in to your bio and some of the things, those juicy tidbits I know you're going to share with our audience today. And it's from Estee Lauder, who said, "I never dreamed about success. I worked for it."
Amen, sister.
I never dreamed about success. I worked for it. One of the things that I love about Mary is she is the goddess of systems, which I suck at.
Woohoo!
Go, Brad. High five.
I
think
we're moon twins.
Yes. So we're super excited to have Mary on the show today. And before we get into her bio, just wanted to remind you guys, we have our next event coming up, the Creative Business Summit, on March 24th to 26th of 2017 in Los Angeles. You can find that at pathtoprofitacademy.com/summit to get more details. We'd love to meet some of you guys in person. We know you're out there listening and paying attention and watching on YouTube, but come and play with us for 3 days. It's a super blast. So let me tell you a little bit more about Mary. So Mary has more than a decade of entrepreneurial experience to her credit. She's a highly sought after presenter who makes everyone feel like she is speaking directly to them with her engaging, down-to-earth style. It's so true. I can vouch for that. She delivers practical topics that provide audiences with simple, actionable ideas. There's that action word again, plus the clarity and motivation to put them into action right away. Mary is a business growth development expert and speaker who works with highly driven, busy entrepreneurs. Are there any entrepreneurs who aren't busy? To help them significantly grow their businesses, not profitable ones, and get their freedom back. Her entrepreneurial journey includes successful careers in real estate, business-to-business networking events, and business consulting. Recently, a health crisis, sad to hear, forced Mary to completely start over and revamp her business. And from the system she created to weather the storm, she tripled her income while cutting her work hours in half. Wow, can't wait to hear how you did that. She teaches audiences and clients the same system she credits for her own success. She's two-time past president of the Sedona Verde Valley, Arizona chapter of NABO, and is currently on the national board of NABO. So again, welcome. Thank you. I know how busy you are as an entrepreneur, and we appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to come and play with us today.
It really is my pleasure. Yeah.
Nice. Nice to have you. I want to hear what you do for your clients. Is that okay?
Yeah, a lot of what I do for my clients are people who are willing to work. They just want to know that their work is going to pay off. All this effort they're putting in is actually going to yield results. And so what we work on is, like you said, Manette, is we create systems. Now, systems is usually this ugly word that feels like, oh, this is going to put me in a box and a one size fits all. And so sometimes we have to first work on the misconception around systems, because systems really are a way to take the guesswork out of business. They're a way to free you rather than constrain you. They free you to do the creative things and make the things that are repetitive and mundane, make them so simple that it's not draining your energy, that's not taking your focus and attention, that needs to be devoted to your clients, your business development, your creativity. So it really is about freedom. And the place we generally start is with client acquisition. How do you generate more clients? And do it in a way that is not, doesn't feel totally nerve-wracking, doesn't feel fake, and doesn't feel like it takes your entire life to do it.
Yeah.
It actually gets results at some point. So we usually start with the marketing. And if you want, I can run through like the basic exercise I start everybody with.
That's totally cool. Gives us a great idea of who your clients are. And Brad is like over here salivating on your
why aren't you doing that, Manette?
Because that's not my genius. It's her genius. It's your genius. We talk a lot about, I think we did a whole show, didn't we? Or we talked about doing a show on Zone of Genius, right? We're big fans of Gay Hendricks, The Big Leap. and trying to help ourselves and our clients spend more time in their zone of genius, right? And
Absolutely.
really, systems are in your zone of genius.
So how do you help an animal like this, like Bennett,
an animal
who wants to
a creative
who
that.
wants to just sort of riff on everything and
Mm-hmm.
just go with the flow in terms of marketing or a sales pitch or things like that, even when there's a system present? Because I'll say, how did it go, Manette? Oh, I forgot to use the script. Gotta use this.
Well, there's two things. Number one, and sometimes it's just a matter of aligning my language with the creative, and asking what they really, really want. It's like, okay, if you really find that your zone of genius, like you say, is in working with clients, are you willing to create this new habit, use the systems in order to get what you really want? So making a sacrifice over here in order to get what you really want. If the answer is no, I don't work with them. Right. I'm not the right person for them. I will not be able to speak their language. I passed a few clients or a few leads to Manette because I'm not going to be able to help them if they don't engage and at least have some willingness to engage in creating their systems. And they're all customized. It's not my way, it's their way. Right. But if they don't have at least a basic willingness to put the action behind those systems, nothing I teach is going to work. So I'm not going to, I only take clients that I can help be successful. It's too frustrating for everyone.
Yeah, but I think that's, so that's such a great point to make. So I want to maybe unravel that little bit around this concept of client attraction, client acquisition. I was doing research into what my clients say, finding clients, getting clients, no matter what you call it, clients create cash flow, and cash flow is all part of our business, right? And yet we all struggle with this whole getting clients thing. And what I so appreciate about you is your clarity around who your perfect client is, right? You're super clear who our perfect client is. And yet we find, for all of those who are listening to the show, there's so much resistance to even starting with that piece and narrowing that focus to who are the perfect clients for you. So I'm curious around that client acquisition piece, as you call it. What's your sort of magic formula to help people understand the importance of choosing an ideal client?
Okay. Well, there's actually two parts because when I think about client generation, client acquisition, there's two main parts to it. It's the ideal client and messaging part, and then there's the action plan. So a lot of people would like to spend 2 weeks digging deep into their niche and, looking around and researching. I literally one time had a client come to me and she said she was given this exercise. It was 50 pages long.
Oh.
No, wait. Part 1 of 6 to identify her ideal client. She got on one of my free webinars. I don't know. I just can't even imagine. This was something she was sold. So, take that for what it's worth. But she went on one of my free webinars. 40 minutes later, she was crystal clear because I don't screw around. I help people find their way quickly. But so the two parts are the messaging. Sorry, little tangent.
That's all right. Tangent dropping.
And then the action plan. So a lot of times I will choose to start people on the action plan instead of getting caught up in the messaging. Because when people get into action, they start to see, they get one of two things. They either see results or they get data, okay? Yeah. They get evidence of what is really happening on the market. I'd rather have someone be in action, in imperfect action, and then refine later than spend 3 weeks researching and then not be seeing any results and literally be in the same place as where we started. So let me start with the action plan, then we'll talk about refining the ideal client. So the action plan, which is the exercise I referred to earlier, very simple, okay? And what this does is it tells you exactly what marketing activities you should be doing. And, that's Manette is doing one thing, I'm doing something else, and, Susie's doing something else, and Jim's doing something. This helps you find what your unique combination is. And it came from a time when I got very sick and I had to refine everything down to what was most effective. So here it is, very simple. Take a piece of paper. In the left hand, I don't know my left from my right. In the left-hand column, you want to write down all of the marketing that you can think of. Okay. The things you're doing, whether it's consistently or inconsistently, plus you want to add all the things that are rattling around in your brain. All of the things that you're getting marketed on Facebook and in your inbox and in your Facebook groups. Okay. So long, messy list. Because the first thing you want to do is you got to get rid of the overwhelm that's in your head. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, either you can figure out what your perfect plan is, and then tomorrow you're going to do the same thing because your brain's still a mess. You need to clean up the brain. Column 1, write down all your marketing. Second column, you're going to write down your clients. Okay. Who have you worked with? Right? Just your best clients too, because we're going to talk about how you duplicate them, and you don't want any stinkers in there, because that is not what you want to build and duplicate in your business. So second column, write down best bet, at least 10. Actually, if you can put down 20, even better. So then it's simply connect the dots. You're going to track back the client's name to the marketing activity where you found them. So what do you think people find when they do this activity?
That there's probably 2 to 3 activities that generate all their leads for clients.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So all this mess and stress is boiled down to, and I find it's usually about three really core strategies. There's sometimes a couple of supporting ones that we won't go into that, but this helps give you a lot of clarity, a lot of confidence that what you're doing is the right stuff. So your efforts are paying off, and you can just put all the Facebook ads to the side. You can put all the webinars, whatever it is that's making you crazy because you haven't figured it out. You haven't cracked the code. The answer is you don't need to. Yay.
Awesome. I love that. That's so clear. And I love when you, this is because I start in a similar place with having people really reflect on who their favorite clients are and what do they have in common. Like what makes them perfect clients? You know, it's like, I think we try so hard to get a niche, right? Or to get this community or tribe, and we forget to focus on that one perfect individual.
Right, exactly. So just to complete this process out, what you do when you find those, you identify those actions or those strategies, then what you do is you focus on them. You systematize them. You prioritize them. Mm-hmm. And get them into your calendar. And that's your action plan. And I used to call it the minimum marketing plan, because when I was sick, it's like I needed to know what was the minimum I could do. And then as I got healthy, I was like, well, if it's working, why do more?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I love it also because I think it leads to mastery, right? And away from overwhelm. And what I see with entrepreneurs is that we're really good at wanting to try everything, and everything works a little bit, right? But when you're trying to do everything, there's no opportunity for mastery. And I think I'm at that point in my business after 15 years as an entrepreneur where what matters most is mastery at this point. Done a lot, been around the block a lot, tried a lot of different things. And it truly is, I think our focus this year is about mastering our systems, right? And that prioritizing. Mm-hmm.
So this is interesting. So the image that came to mind was Karate Kid, right? Wax on, wax off.
Yeah.
And,
basics.
And that's about getting something to the point where it's muscle memory. And so I'm interested, with what you talked about and what Manette talked about. If you do come up with something like a script for a sales pitch or just a formula that you follow, does it really involve, you kind of need to be committed to just repeating it and repeating it and repeating it. And that's how you get mastery. That's how you get the muscle memory. Whether this is actually just, specific words that you deliver when you open a conversation with a new person, or a specific flow that a conversation takes. This is why I bug Manette, right? I think maybe intuitively I understand it and how important it is that those conversations, not just to convert the people that you have on the phone, but to get better at that thing, whatever it is you're doing, by repeating that same script instead of taking lots of liberties and having the discussion go off on different tangents.
And I hear what you're saying, and really that goes right into the next thing, which is the ideal client messaging. I think if I'm hearing you correctly, is like, what are you saying? How are you communicating on a consistent basis so you're consistently attracting your ideal clients? And so there is a formula that I use, and I'm happy to share it, or part of it. It's kind of a little bit involved, but
give us the LITE version, and then you can sell
I'll give you the
Yes.
I'll sell you to the bigger one.
Give your best stuff away, but the light version. I love that.
No, actually, I have, I think, a short video on it that if you want to include somewhere, I'm happy to do that, because it is,
awesome.
It's very tight, but it's also more involved than a quick conversation.
Cool. Yeah,
here.
we're happy to put the link in the show notes.
Okay. Remind me and I'll do that.
Awesome.
Okay. So a couple things. One, yes, you want to be very consistent with messaging, because your ideal client doesn't change. So your message can't change. The big mistake a lot of business owners make is they try to change it up. They try to keep it interesting. And it's like, don't. You are literally creating an identity file in people's heads for who you are and who you serve. And if you keep, they're going to have identity disorder for you as to what you do. So you got to stay on point. A lot of times when you introduce yourself and you're, conveying what it is you do, there's a couple things that happen. One is that you end up talking about what you do, and that's just like the wrong direction. Here's what I do, and here's my certifications, and here's my doctor, and here's my that. People don't know themselves. They want to know, are you there to help me? And the cool thing is that when you really nail that down, then instead of people like nodding and smiling, yes, no, yeah, so when is it my turn to talk? If they are your ideal client, then they lean in and they're like, that's me. Right. And that happens regularly to me and my clients, because we got to keep it really tight and simple. And here's the other thing, and that is that if you are doing your introduction correctly, and that's where I start everyone's marketing, is with your introduction. If you're doing it right, it's probably boring to you, because you think you got to do all these flashy things, but really it's got to be plain English. It's got to be top of mind for your ideal clients. What is their problem? What is the solution they're looking for? And these are things that, this is like probably the most important thing I'm going to say. So write it down.
and make sure that the internet stays stable in this moment while we're recording.
Yeah, seriously. But when you're introducing yourself or doing any marketing copy for your ideal client, you have got to be talking about what they know they need. Right. Not what you as the expert know they need. Because I know my clients need structure and systems. What they know they need is clients. Yeah. They want to significantly grow their business without working nights and weekends. Yeah. That's what they know. So I can't talk about all the other stuff because they don't care. They don't even know they need to know it. They don't even know they need to want it.
Right.
So don't try to educate people in your initial layer of marketing, your introductions, your homepage. My introduction, I find very boring. Hi, I work with highly driven, busy entrepreneurs who want to significantly grow their business without working nights and weekends. Boring. It's like, the bug zapper to the bug, to the moth to the flame. That's a nice way to say it. But it's just, it really is very attractive. And that's one of the things you have to keep in mind. It may not sound exciting to you. It doesn't matter.
Yep.
I think that's probably where our creatives run into a problem, is that boredom factor. They're not willing to, I'm not talking about Manette here.
Of course not.
It's tough for them to say, oh, well, this isn't, I don't get to be creative in this.
Here's the thing. I just want to add on to this whole conversation about keeping things the same. I loved what you said about creating an identity file in people's heads. Mm-hmm. Like when people have known me for a while or they see me online for a while, they know I work with creatives. I say that everywhere. Mm-hmm. But the biggest internal shift I had to make around that was to come up with messaging and systems and formulas and what I teach that I was happy teaching over and over and over again, because I am that creative who could spend all day. Well, let me do this webinar and that course, and I want to talk about this over here. And oh, wait, Brad, what about, and so this conversation can go on and on and on and on. I mean, he's watched me do that for 15 years, right? Yeah. And I was working
Brad
with my coaches. And one of them was on stage, and he said they have a live event business model, and he said that he had delivered his big summit, which is his big money maker. I can't remember. It's like something crazy, like so 3 times a year times 10 years, right? 30 to 50 to 7. I think he said 70 times, right? And I'm like, what am I going to talk about that I can talk about 70 times and still love it? Right? And it all comes back to matching up my zone of genius, my unique brilliance, with who my favorite clients are. And once I nailed that piece, Mary, like you, and I know you've totally nailed that piece as well, everything's easy. The marketing's easy, the sales is easy, the client acquisition and attraction and blah, blah, blah is everything's easy, and I'm still having fun. Right?
Yes.
It's like for the last year and a half or so, we're teaching the same things over and over and again. And there might be a little branding switch here, a little naming change.
Yeah.
Or message of our conversations with people never changes. And I think that's where we're going with this conversation, is how important it is to find that message and stick with it, like the bug zapper. I love that.
Yeah. Oh my
you
God,
are
that's
terrible.
terrible.
Like a bug zapper, right? I mean, I met you and I'm like, I want that. I want to know you. I want to spend time with you.
So how does that relate to your personal big why as a creative entrepreneur? So what I think you're saying is that until you are, even if you're delivering the boring stuff, if it's the crux of your big why, if it's the reason you're doing it, your raison d'être, then that's what it is that works.
Yeah, so I think it's big why is part of it, but I think it's falling in love with mastery, right? I, as a creative, love things that are new, right? And Mary has worked with people like me before, right? And what you and Mary are saying is that the more systems that we have in place, then the more free I am to play inside those systems. And I think that was a huge turning point for me, is understanding if I can have the right system in place that works for my crazy mind, then I'm having fun playing inside of it. But yeah, big why I think is a piece of that.
It's a big part.
It is a big too. So Mary, I'm curious, what's your big why?
My big why is my family.
Yeah.
My big why doesn't reside within my business. Which is something I struggled with that for a long time. I burned out of a whole industry because they kept telling me, what are you passionate about? And I'd be like, well, I like to make money so I can do what I want to do. And they're like, that's not, I got the message, whether they said it or not, it's not good enough. I reserve that word passion. We hear passion a lot. I reserve that for things that are very personal to me and not professional. For me, it's very different. And I think that was a big shift for me, to be able to take ownership of my definitions of what I was hearing everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's scary, because when you've got people who are successful and telling you what to do and how they did it, you're thinking, well, why would I ever do it differently? And you want to follow people's strategy, but not necessarily their passion, definitely not their personality. You got to bring that to the table. And it's really important. So my big why really is my family, and it all connects in with my values, which is another part that I think that I take my clients through. I think it's critically important. My top value is freedom. And a lot of my why is in that, which is I want to be able to work where I want to work so I can be with my aging parents, my nieces and nephew, my husband, of course. I want that freedom. My second one is impact. And that's what shows up in my business, is that I've been watching these shows about different entrepreneurs, and they're just like cutthroat, and they really are about the deal. They are just about the money in the deal. And that's exciting for them. And I just can't relate, because I'm not around people like that. I am not that person. So while my business is not my passion, it is like part of who I am. Creating impact, positive impact on people is like oxygen to me. I need that. And same for the people around me. And the third one, and this is interesting with the messaging and the systems we were talking about, my third value is variety. So while I don't categorize myself as a creative, I need, excuse me, I need variety. It has to be built in to what I do. So with variety, with systems, I have to change things up. I keep the system, but I change how I do it. So like I have a list of people I keep in touch with each month because they are professionals who I refer to and refer to me. They are, coaching programs who I partner with, whoever they are. And so I do the same thing every month, but sometimes I reach out and I send them, like I just sent rocks to everybody. I just sent these cool rocks to everyone. Sometimes I just give them a call. Sometimes it's an email. Sometimes it's an article. So how do you create variety within the system? That's one thing that a lot of my clients are very interested in because they do get bored.
Right.
And then I also have to say, where do you say, I am willing to take routine over here so that I can have variety over here. And that's one thing an exchange that's very, it works for me when I do just the mundane, here's the marketing I do, don't care, I just turn it out, because then I get these clients who have this variety of experience. And I'm more interested in that kind of variety and creativity, if you will. I'm more interested in that than being creative over here. I'm like, creative in this stuff over here? What a waste of my time. Just do that stuff.
Yeah, I love that. So, but I gotta ask you, will you share the rock story?
Oh,
because I love that newsletter when it came out. So, would you share the story about the picking up the rocks?
Yeah. So I on the first day of the year, this year, I was on Morro Beach in my neck of the woods in California.
Beautiful place, folks. You gotta go there.
Seriously, one of my favorite places on the planet. And I've been a lot of places on the planet, and that literally is one of my favorites. And I was watching these pebbles wash up on shore. And I was like, I could just see these little pebbles, like it's this moment in time. It's like, this came here now, first day of the year. And there was just this feeling of like possibility. And I'm like, how can I share this? I'm going to send these out to people. And I'm stuffing them in my pockets and I'm writing, metaphors in my head about possibilities and, on and on and on. And then I get home and I'm like, what? I got, my jacket's laden down and sandy now because I look at these rocks, they're beautiful because they're still all wet. They dry and they just look all nasty. And I'm like, oh my God, am I a crazy person? And I thought, oh my gosh, this is exactly what we go through. We get inspired, we think we're brilliant, and then doubt or opposition or someone's criticism or whatever comes up, and we start to doubt ourselves and we start to back off of these things that we feel very, very deeply about. And, it's, so I was like, are these little I called them, is it inspiration or am I just weak? That was, oh my God, I am such a freak. I'm so strange. And I thought about all the people that I adore, and they are just a little odd. They're a little quirky. They're little freak flag flying, and I'm like, I guess that's me too. So I'll just, and so I ended up mailing them out.
Oh, we lost you there for a second.
The blog and okay. I was just saying I sent them out to about 75 people. Actually, awesome. I have a few left.
Beautiful. So if you're listening on iTunes on the podcast, she showed us a beautiful little rock. And speaking of showing us, so I love that story, and I love the analogy that you made between the rocks wet being all shiny and beautiful, and when they dry out, they seem dull and unimportant, and how that mirrors our own journey of drying out, if you will. But speaking of quirky, let's talk about your book.
Yeah. Boy, I'm telling you what, I went through this whole journey to write this book, and now I'm looking at it going, what was I thinking? So my rock has dried on my book. So anyway, but I will share with you. So I have this book. It's a collection of my blog posts. I've been writing blogs for about 5 years now, and there have been two elements to it. It's, I was given advice a long time ago, is when you communicate with your client,
we're losing you.
Competence, and to always include, I think we froze up again.
Yeah.
Am I back?
You are back. So we'll have to edit out that centerpiece. You're still freezing up. You want to dial out and dial back in again?
I don't know. Then I have to.
Okay.
edit everything together.
Let's just give it a second and see if it comes back.
Check whether the kids are all.
I'm going to.
We're not sure if it's your end or our end. It's totally frozen, Brad.
Okay.
I can hear you moving, but I can't see you.
I just sent my husband.
I don't know if it's her end or our end.
Okay, on for me.
Well, we're going to stop the call here and
Stop the
start it
recording.
again.